Hi, I'm Stefany, owner of DMC Travel Tailor. For those of you who don't know me, I'm an independent contractor with Largay Travel. Largay Travel is a reputable travel company in Connecticut and have been in business for over 50 years. We're affiliated with Virtuoso, which means we're able to get you exclusive perks and benefits. And Virtuoso, which is the leading luxury network, they've also been around for many, many years. A little bit about me and my background. I've flown for the past 10 years as a private jet flight attendant for the top 1% in the New York City and Bay Area, and have traveled to 53 countries, 28 islands, and counting. So, with that being said, I'm in tune with taking superior care of my clients. There's nothing I love more than a happy client. And I started the travel company because I wanted to help people realize their bucket list trips, as I've been able to experience many of mine. And on a larger level, we wanted to give back. So we give back 5% of our profit to Talitha Kum, which is an orphanage in Kenya that helps children with HIV. So we just wanted to make this world a better place. Today I'm here with Ramona Manzi. She's Director of Sales with Micato
Hi,
Safaris.
Stefany. Thank
Hi,
you. Hi, how are you?
welcome.
Hi, Sally. Nice to meet you. So this is me. Oh, well, that's not me. This is me. So I'm
Yeah.
Ramona Manzi. I am the Director of Sales for Micato Safaris. I have been working with Micato for the last 14 years, but I have been in the travel industry probably for more years than I want to say. I would say probably 50 years. And I actually started when I was very young working for an international airline that traveled to Italy. And at that time, one of my first trips was to Africa. And I've been back several times since. So I'm familiar with the destination. And very much like Stefany, I've seen the world. I've traveled to probably over 100 countries. I've probably been to Italy at least 100 times and to Africa 20 times. So, I'm pretty well versed in travel. It's always been my passion and my love. And our relationship, just so you know, our relationship with Largay Travel and Micato Safaris goes back very, very, very long. It's a very seasoned relationship. It started with Roland Largay, who was the founder of the company, started the company back in 1969. And we've always had a wonderful, wonderful relationship with Largay Travel. His nephew, Paul Largay, and Janice Pinto are good friends, as well as Amanda Climac and Scott, his son. So it's a real family-owned operation, Largay Travel, which is very similar to Micato Safaris. Roland Largay was a very big supporter of Micato Safaris and of the African children and of Africa. He probably traveled there more than 40 times. We actually, in his memory, have a playground named in his honor. So just so you know the background of the company. So I'm going to begin. I'm really happy that you were able to join us. And I'm sure that you're all looking forward to getting back on a plane and traveling again. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about one of my favorite places and an experience that I really think is on everybody's bucket list, an African safari. So everybody that I talk to tells me that it's on their bucket list. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what a day on safari is like. I'll give you some information about the destination, and then I'll tell you about the differences between Micato Safaris and other safari companies. So first, early morning, you're actually woken up by your butler comes with a very quiet voice. He'll knock on the door saying "Jumbo," and he'll bring you coffee and tea and biscuits. And you really have to start out early in the morning when the sun comes up, because this is the best time to be on a game drive. And that's the best time to spot the animals, the first thing in the morning or late in the afternoon. And you're going to see a tremendous variety of animals, some in large herds, which can be very, very dynamic and very fun because, you know, they're very playful. And of course, there'll be some loners out there. And then midway through the game drive, we're going to stop. We'll have a coffee break. And then we'll continue to look at animals. One of the things about being on safari is that everything is very spontaneous. So you just really never know what you're going to see. You know, around the corner, you'll spot something. Nobody's had any idea what it is. After the morning game drive, we go back to the camp for breakfast. Sometimes we'll have breakfast in the bush. And then after breakfast, you'll have some free time for an activity. And the activities, they vary from camp to camp. So, you know, some camps you could do mountain biking or horseback riding, or you might want to walk with a naturalist. It really depends on the camp. And then it's time for lunch. And I want you to know there's never a shortage of food when you're on safari. Then after lunch, you'll have some free time. Many of the camps have massages, or you just might want to relax by the pool, take a nap. And then in the English tradition, we'll have high tea around 3:30, and then we'll set out for our afternoon game drive. Now, you might want to go back and visit some of the species that you had seen early in the morning, or you might want to see other animals. It really, you know, it depends on what people are in the mood for. I can tell you that after looking at elephants all day long, people want to see something a little bit different, or some of them just want to go back and, you know, see the elephants again. So it really depends on, you know, what you're interested in seeing. And of course, our safari directors are there to accommodate you. Halfway through your game viewing, you'll stop for refreshments, you'll have a cup of tea, and then you'll continue on. And then before you know it, it's time to go back to camp for dinner. And most camps, they like to rotate. So for instance, one evening you'll have dinner in a boma area. This is what a picture of what a boma looks like. Boma is a Swahili word. It means a gathering place. And then another evening, you'll have dinner in the restaurant. And then after dinner, people will gather around the campfire. They'll share stories of the day's adventures, and they usually turn in early because, you know, you get up so early. So I hope that gives you a sense of what the day is like. Now, I'm going to talk to you about the destination just to give you an idea. I put this map up. This is just some basic destination information. We start out in Nairobi, okay, the capital of Kenya. And it's also the beginning and the ending point of most of the Kenyan safaris. While it is a large city, it has wildlife experiences. So you can really get very up close and personal with the giraffes at Giraffe Center. Or one of my favorite places is the David Sheldrick's Wildlife Trust, where you can see the fostered baby elephants that are being cared for by their handlers. And you can actually even foster a baby elephant if you like, which I've actually done for a couple of my friends as gifts. And you can receive updates about their lives, which is really cool. And then Nairobi is also the home of Micato's founders, Felix and Jane Pinto. And it's also the base for Micato's nonprofit arm, which is America's Share, and its sister foundation, which is Huru International. And then later on in the presentation, I'll go into more in depth about how Micato works in Nairobi's Makuru slum, and I'll give you information on the health, the education, and the resources that we provide these children. Also, it's very close. One of the things that a lot of people may not be aware of is that Nairobi is about 123 miles from the equator, and one of the properties that we use, Mount Kenya Safari Lodge, actually the equator runs through it. So it's kind of cool. If you go on one side, you're in the southern hemisphere. If you go on the other side, you're in the northern hemisphere. So moving along, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Amboseli, which is one of the areas that we visit. Amboseli National Park is usually the first bush stop on most of our itineraries, and it is known primarily for its majestic views of Mount Kilimanjaro and also one of the world's largest elephant populations. Most of the lodges and the camps that we use have fantastic views of the mountain, and the park is actually home to over 1,000 elephants. And great game viewing also includes lots of zebra, wildebeest, and lions. And one of the interesting things about Amboseli is the fact that the park has 5 ecosystems: rich woodlands, wetlands, sulfur springs, a savanna, and also the dried bed lake of Lake Amboseli. Next, we move to the Lakipia Plateau, which is actually one of my favorite places. The Lakipia Plateau is made up of private game reserves, which are located on the edge of Mount Kenya, north of the equator. And the region has fantastic rhino population, as many of the reserves have actually been protecting the rhino for many years by way of anti-poaching patrols and lots of security. And you also have the opportunity to see different types of animals that are unique to northern Kenya. One of them is the reticulated giraffe, the gerenuk, the Grevy's zebra, which is a little bit different than the regular zebra, the Bessia oryx, and the Somali ostrich. Staying on the private reserves also allows guests to partake in many of the activities that they offer, in addition to the twice daily game drives. So the activities can include horseback riding, they can do mountain biking, they can do guided bushwalks, they can take camel treks, and a whole host of adventures, which are not for the faint of heart. And we do recommend safety belts if you're going to do that. Actually, we recommend that you don't do that. These are actually Dennis's 2 kids. So now we're going to move further. We're going to move on to the most northern point in Kenya, which is called Samburu National Reserve. This area has a very dry ecosystem, and it's known for its dense shrub environment, and it's very arid, it's dry terrain. You can also find cactus, and if you want to compare it, you can compare it to the US's Southwest. And like Amboseli, you have a large population of elephants, as well as the reticulated giraffe. And you can see the difference with the reticulated giraffes in the way the pattern on their skin is. And also, again, the Grevy zebra is there. They have a little bit of different stripes, and they have a back that's a little bit larger, as well as with the oryx and the Somali ostriches and the gerenuk. And again, as I mentioned, the terrain's really different. It's very dry this far north. And of course, the Samburu people, they have the most beautiful, beautiful jewelry and the most beautiful beadwork. And then the final reserve that I'm going to highlight is the Masai Mara. The Masai Mara Game Reserve is often called Kenya's crown jewel, and it is absolutely stunning. It's beautiful, and it's well-known ecosystem. It's known for its wide open plains that are dotted with the acacia trees. It's also known for its absolutely amazing wildlife, especially for its lions and other big cats. It's just, I can kind of call it big sky country, because it's all land and sky. And large herds, also you can find a lot of large herds of the plains game. From July to October, you might have the chance to see the Great Migration. There are only 3 species of animals that migrate: the wildebeest, the zebra, and the gazelles. And they're always on the move. They're always in search of food. It's triggered by rain patterns, the rain. So they follow the rain for grazing purposes. And you can also meet the traditional Maasai. You'll also have the opportunity to visit a traditional Maasai village where you can have the chance to spend time with the Maasai, and you can visit their home, learn about their traditional lifestyle, and maybe join them in some dancing. They love to do that. Also, the Mara is a great place for the hot air balloon safari, and we usually follow that up by a champagne bush breakfast. Really absolutely fabulous. So Kenya is the focus of today's presentation, but if you're like me, you want to explore beyond Kenya, and we can certainly arrange that. The Ngorongoro crater, which is located in Tanzania, and it's a caldera, has some of the world's largest concentration of animals, and it's a very, very popular extension. You can also go to the Serengeti, the vast plains of the Serengeti, which is also in Tanzania, or a lot of people are visiting the gorillas in Rwanda, the gorilla trekking, which has become extremely popular. And any of these trips are really easy to do from Kenya. So I hope that gives you a little bit of an idea of what the destination looks like. So some of the common questions, that we get all the time are like, what's the food like? I'm going to tell you the food is absolutely delicious, and people are generally pleasantly surprised at the high quality of the food. I don't know if you know, but East Africa, Kenya is actually the breadbasket for Africa, and the culinary scene there is very, very interesting, and people are always amazed when they go there at what great food there is. You'll also find that a lot of the camps have dining al fresco. I will tell you that as of COVID, post-COVID, we will no longer have buffet meals. Everything will be plated, along with the fact that when you're out on a game drive, we're not going to have communal snacks. Everything will be wrapped individually. So, that's something that, has emerged because of COVID. Also wanted to let you know that we include the beer and wine with all the meals, as well as soft drinks and water. So that's all included. Now, people always ask us, what are the accommodations like? And, we typically use a variety of accommodations. So all the trips do include a wonderful mix of properties. In Nairobi, you might stay at the Old World classic properties, such as the Fairmont Norfolk Hotel. And the rooms and the amenities are pretty much in keeping with what you would expect from a brand like Fairmont. And then while you're out in the bush, you'll be staying in a mix of lodges and tented properties, which fit in very well to their surroundings. So we, all the trips always spend at least 2 to 4 nights in a tented camp, which is always a highlight. You can see that the walls and the roof is canvas, but you're raised off the ground. And the roof of the tent has protection. So the tents are really comfortable. They're nicely appointed. They have a very classic Hemingway feel to them. And then in addition to that, we do have indoor plumbing. They have a shower and a toilet. Everything is located in the tent. Now, if you're traveling with a large group or a family, or a group of friends, you can opt for an exclusive use property where you can have the entire camp, just for your group, which is really nice. Another question is weather. What type of weather can I expect? I'm going to tell you that the weather is absolutely lovely. And Kenya sits on the equator, as I mentioned, but it's at altitude inland, so where safaris take place. So it's very comfortable. There's very little humidity. Early mornings and evenings usually tend to be in the upper 50s and 60s, and then the daytime highs are in the 70s and the 80s. So in fact, people are generally surprised at how cool the climate can be. So we always recommend that you dress in layers, that you bring a fleece and long pants on your early morning game drive and on your evening game drive. Again, people always ask, what should I plan to wear? We just tell people casual and comfortable. It is, while it's not required, it's recommended that you don't wear bright colors, because studies have shown that animals do shy away from bright colors. And it is true that in East Africa, the lions will shy away from you if you're wearing red, because they will think that you are a Maasai warrior with a spear. So, and I'm not kidding about that. And stay away from black because black tends to attract a lot of flies. So the best colors are the khaki colors that you see here in the picture. There's olives and beiges. You know, you want to blend in and camouflage with the scenery. We also send you this great bag. There is a weight restriction of 33 pounds, but we supply you with this wonderful, stylish, and practical bag that was designed exclusively for us by Marmont. Marmont, the bag has wheels. It has a long handle. It's very lightweight. And just to tell you that this bag retails for about almost $280 if you were to buy it on your own. You don't really have to take a lot with you because we also include free laundry from beginning to the end. It's daily. So you can return home with a suitcase full of clean clothes. Also, it's, you know, as far as the medical requirements, you know, we always tell people it's best to check with your physician, you know, and follow the CDC guidelines. The CDC does recommend that you take anti-malarial pills if you're traveling. If you're traveling to Tanzania as an extension from Kenya, then you will have to show proof of a yellow fever vaccination. If some people cannot take that vaccination, then you can just get your physician to sign off on that. As far as the vehicles, you know, people ask what the vehicles are like. Our vehicles are designed to accommodate 9 people. Pre-COVID, we had 6 people per vehicle. Post-COVID, we only have 4 people per vehicle. You know, what's great is that everyone has a window seat. They have access to the roof hatch. There's plenty of room for your camera equipment, and all sorts of belongings. In addition, our vehicles are custom designed. We own our own vehicles, and the vehicles have added suspension for the African plains. So you're not getting jostled around like in some other vehicles. And I can give you, you know, I can tell you about my own experiences in the past where I came back and I had to go to the chiropractor. Also, all of our vehicles are outfitted with ice chests, water, soft drinks, snack. We have a library on board. Every guest gets a binocular. We also have bean bags so that they can rest their long camera lenses. I mean, we've really tried to think of everything possible that you could need while you're on safari. So when you travel with us, you really don't have to take anything. I mean, this is just kind of like what the vehicles look like. There are 3 ways to travel with us. Now, you can have a custom design trip, a safari that's been customly designed from top to bottom based on your schedule and your interests. You can also take one of our classic departures, which is a scheduled small group departure. We have 10 different safari programs with multiple departures, weekly and bi-weekly. And we really are, when I say small group departures, they are small. And they operate every month, and they're all guaranteed to operate. One of the things is that Micato never cancels a departure. And then, of course, if you have a family or group of friends that want to get together, they can choose one of the scheduled departures, and they can actually make that into their own private. Okay, they convert it completely private. They have their own safari vehicle. They'll have their own safari director and their own driver guide. So we're also, all of our departures are winged departures. So you never have to worry about driving on these unpaved roads. So I hope that's piqued your interest in a safari. Now I just want to share with you exactly what sets Micato apart from other safari companies. And we call this the 8 great reasons. So number 1 is that we have been voted the world's best safari outfitter 9 times, which is unprecedented for a tour operator. No tour operator has won that award 9 times, and we're really proud of that. Also, we have been operating safaris for over 54 years. which is pretty amazing. We're still a family-owned company and operating for over 54 years. Not too many companies can actually claim that. Reason number two is that we have a highly credentialized Micato Safari director that accompanies every East African trip. And again, no other company can say that. One of the things that really is different with Micato is that all of our safari directors and all of our driver guides are employees of the company. We do not subcontract. We do not hire freelance guides in very, busy seasons. They are all employees of Micato. They are all trained by Micato. They're all highly certified with the highest level of certification in the industry for hospitality and tourism, and they're all local. And many of them have been with us for over 20 years. Another thing is that they are only dealing with luxury clients, okay? So our clients are all luxury clients. We don't have student groups or alumni groups. It's just the luxury clients. So they really know how to deal with, people who are looking for a luxury tour operator, for luxury accommodations, for a luxurious experience. And I'm going to tell you that having a safari director traveling with you really makes a great difference. He makes the experience very personal, and he can build on those past experiences. And now, post-COVID, that's going to be even more important than ever before, because your safari director will be your advocate. He's going to make sure that all of the meals are properly delivered, that everything has been, that no buffets are being served, that all the communal snacks, they're all being wrapped, that all the vehicles have been sanitized. We know that the camps and lodges are going to do this, but we are also going to have safari directors who are going to make sure that all of the vehicles have been sanitized and that everybody has a face mask, and that, we have replenishments of face masks and tissues and whatever possible your clients are going to need. Reason number three, which I think is one of the best reasons, is that every departure is 100% guaranteed. So you really never have to worry that the departure is going to be canceled. And as long as the borders are open and the planes are flying, we will be operating. We will operate even with one person. Reason number four is no tipping from beginning to end, and virtually all of the gratuities are included, which is amazing. So you never have to worry about reaching into your pocket for anything, even the traditional gratuities at the end of the trip, where you're tipping your safari director, your driver guide, that is all included. So tipping can add up very, very quickly when you think about all of the times that you reach into your pocket and that you start tipping, and you don't have to worry about that with Micato. And like I like to kid around and say to everybody, there are no ATMs in the bush. Believe me, there are not. And as I said, all of the meals are included, all of the refreshments are included, basically everything. Also, we're really proud about the Travel and Leisure Award, but we're also very proud about the Condé Nast Award that we've won. Condé Nast has awarded this award to us. We've won it 5 times. It's the World Savers Award. Condé Nast recognizes companies who've been very good global citizens and who've been protecting, conserving, and supporting the natural environments and the local communities. So we have been the recipient of this award, and we're really, really proud of that. Reason number 6 is that we have a 24-hour concierge team. I call these ladies your security blanket. They're really there to assist anyone, your guests, if you have any unexpected, unusual requests, if you lose your glasses, or if you're not feeling well and you need medication, or if you need a camera chip, or, if you can't resist buying that 5-foot wooden giraffe and have absolutely no idea what you're going to do with it when you get it home or how you're going to pack it. These ladies are there to make it happen. They will take care of everything for you. And then, of course, reason number 8 is that Mr. and Mrs. Pinto are the owners. Actually, reason number 7 is Mr. and Mrs. Pinto, who started the company. They invite everyone to their home. I mean, this is kind of like their signature. When they first started the company, they just did what was natural to them. They would invite all their friends and family to come and visit. And they never knew that they weren't supposed to do that, and it just became something that became a signature of the Pinto family. So Felix and Jane, they're the founders of the company. They're still involved in the daily operations. For them, it's more than a business. It's basically a labor of love. And when you go there, you can dine with them. You can have lunch with them. It's something that's very pleasant. And a lot of people look forward to that, believe it or not. And then, of course, reason number 8 is that we pay for a child's education for every Micato Safari that is sold. And it's called the 1-for-1 commitment. We educate a child. Over 30 years ago, Micato established a nonprofit arm that was called America Share. And it's really been the mission of America Share to provide education to orphan children who live in the slums of Nairobi. The Condé Nast World Savers Award that I spoke about was awarded to us because of our 1-for-1 commitment. And as I just mentioned, for every safari that is bought, Micato sends an African child to school. And this really is a child who, without our intervention and because of extreme poverty, would not have the ability to go to school. They would just be staying home. So it's something that we're extremely proud of. One of the most gratifying things about America Share is that 100% of those donations goes to the children, and all of the administrative costs are paid for by Micato Safaris. So when you travel there, you have the opportunity to visit the heart of the operation, which is called Harambee Center. And it's a multi-use facility. It's located in the heart of Nairobi's Mukuru slum. And this building houses a women's group, a preschool, a library, and a computer resource center. And it even provides clean water, which was the first in the slum. And I remember when I traveled there that my first time, over 15 years ago, they were still digging the borehole. And it's also where Huru International, America Share sister organization, first got its start. Now, Huru means freedom in Swahili. And Huru's an organization that provides reusable sanitary pads and education for young ladies, because we found that many girls were missing up to a week of school each month because they did not have acceptable supplies for their monthly periods. So by creating this desperately needed solution for these young women, they are able to stay in school and they are able to have a shot at an education. Now, in the recent months, Huru pivoted and they started making reusable masks in addition to pads. Masks are required by law in Kenya, so creating these masks and distributing them free of charge in Mukuru is really needed. And as of now, we have distributed over 100,000 of these masks. And then while walking around, our social workers also found that there were a lot of people who not only needed masks, but they had no food. We actually found a family of 8 people who were sharing 1 cabbage. So we actually found another way to help. And besides providing them with masks, we were providing them with groceries. So, something to think about, when you don't have anything to eat. So at the end of most of our safaris, you can spend a half a day visiting the people, the children, getting to see all the great work that takes place in Harambee Center. I will tell you that it is an extremely joyful experience. It's not depressing at all. and the kids are really happy and they're spirited. They welcome visitors. And a lot of people actually mark this as the highlight of their trip. And I've got to tell you that there's never a dry eye when they're seeing these children. So while safaris are our profession, America's share, and these children are truly our passion, because there are millions of children in Africa who have been abandoned or orphaned as a result of the AIDS pandemic. So this is really our way of making a difference. And I really do hope that you have the opportunity to experience this for yourself. So I don't have a crystal ball. I think we're almost over, but I will tell you that I do think that the destinations that have, immersed in nature, such as the Amazon and places like Africa, Costa Rica, these are the places that I think after COVID, after this crisis is over, that people are going to want to travel to, because there is something extremely healing about nature. It's almost like tonic, wildness, there's a tonic. It just provides this sense of adventure, and people are looking for that. So I just want to share you, when you travel, think about it. It comes in three parts. There's thinking about it, you're dreaming about it, the experience, and the memories. So for the last 6 months, everybody's been dreaming about it. I will say that as of August 1st, the borders in Kenya, Tanzania, and Rwanda opened up. And as of the beginning of September, we actually had a lot of, many of the people who were traveling, who were scheduled to travel in September, went ahead and traveled. So we've gotten a lot of great reports back on, a lot of great feedback on what's going on there. So it's been pretty positive. So the borders are open, people are moving, people are going. Everybody that's on that plane has already been COVID tested, so you really don't have to worry about that. Many of the people who were traveling from April through August, we've had to postpone. They actually had to postpone their trips. So we have a lot of people going out in 2021. So people think that, 2021, there's going to be a lot of space. And I'm going to tell you that it's going to be a very, very busy year. So for anyone who's thinking about traveling, they should go ahead and, start making some plans. When you go to Africa, you're going to see the most amazing animals. You'll have the best views possible. You'll meet the most amazing people. And really, it's one of those places that you actually never, never forget. Hopefully, you'll find that thread that ties you to Africa and tugs on your heartstrings and makes you want to go back again and again and again. And just remember that when you travel with Micato, not only are you going to have the trip of a lifetime, but you are also going to save the course of a child's life. So if you have any questions, I am more than happy to answer them.
That was great, Ramona. Oh my gosh. Every time I see that presentation.
Oh, don't you want to just go back again?
Oh, that picture of the little boy and the animals. And I just want to add that Africa to me is a super special place, because the first time I went there, I completely fell in love with it. And it's hard to even describe the feeling, but all I can say is it's magic. When you're there and you see those animals in their own natural habitat, something happens.
Yeah, and you're riding around in that vehicle, and the top, like if you're in the enclosed vehicle, because if you're on private land, you can have an open Land Rover. Yeah. And when you're riding around in that open Land Rover, and the wind's in your hair and the breeze, and it's kind of like something like out of Africa.
It is, and you feel so connected to nature, and there's so much peaceful that I love about it too. Like even just relaxing at the lodge, and looking at all the stars, because you can actually see many of them.
The sky at night is amazing. There are so many stars, and I'm going to tell you my first experience. I mentioned to you I worked for an international airline, and at the time, one of the first trips, I think I was like 19. It was the first trip that I'd ever really been on abroad. Well, I had been to Egypt, but this was a trip that my girlfriend and I, we just talked about going. We wanted to go to Lebanon, and there was a war. So we said, let's go to Africa. And, like all the stewards would come back and tell us, oh my God, you have to go to Africa. You have to go. You have to go. So we went to the Seychelles. My friends didn't even know, what? Where are you going? I'm going to the Seychelles. Like now it's become very popular. It's like very cool, right? But back then, so we went to the Seychelles and then we went on safari. And then we went to Mombasa, okay? So we're on safari, and I remember sitting in this vehicle, and I just remember just like kind of like zoning out and just listening. And there was nothing, you couldn't hear a pin drop. I had never heard silence like I did. It was the first time in my entire life where I actually sat there and I could hear silence. And all you heard was the wind. That was it. I'd never been anywhere where it was so quiet.
Yeah.
It was just the most amazing. And I mean, I'm talking about almost 50 years ago. And it was the most amazing, amazing thing. And just, being in my camp and looking out the window and seeing a herd of zebra right in front of my window.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
So cool. I know it's one of those places that I think, because I had clients once, they said, oh, we don't have any interest in Africa. And then as soon as they went once, now they want to keep going back. And it's just one of those places that really does kind of grab your heart.
I told you, it's that it tugs at your heartstring.
It does. It does.
And the more you go and the more you think the more you think you've seen everything, there's something else that's going to come out of the bush. I remember my last trip, I thought I'd seen it all. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this hippo is walking. It's just like, it was just amazing. Just amazing. You have to, and I saw the migration in Tanzania, thousands of wildebeest and zebra, just all walking in unison, in single file. And there was no beginning, there was no end. It was incredible. And talk about the night sky, amazing. Oh, and you're looking at a different hemisphere, so the sky is different. The stars, the constellation is different. But it's just an amazing experience. I recommend it highly for anyone who really loves nature. And what an education it is.
It is. And there's a great cause behind it on your end and on our end.
Yeah, and definitely. Definitely.
And I will mention, because we haven't mentioned this, but you definitely want to plan about, I would say, at least 12 to 18 months in advance. And I'm sure Ramona will say the same thing.
About a year, but definitely. Depending on. And I will tell you that, because of this situation where a lot of people, could not travel from April through August, a lot of people are now going to be going in 2021. And I just find that a lot of people, I think this whole COVID thing made people want to get close to nature. I really feel like, a lot of people maybe being, secluded in your home or what it was, but I think people just wanted that, see nature and see what it's like, because there, like I said, there's a tonic to wildness,
Yeah. Yeah. And there's something so special about it.
Sally, we are also offering an added value for anyone who books within the next 2 months of this presentation. It's a $150 credit on our online safari shop. So, and it's great. We've got some great stuff on there. So for anyone who's interested, just, we're going to be honoring that.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions, Sally? Juliana, can we unmute her? Thanks.
No, you covered everything. Every question I had, you covered the presentation. So
that's a great job.
The next question is, when do you want to go?
Tomorrow.
Exactly. I love it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, when you're ready, I mean, it's there. But I wouldn't, if for people who really do want to go, I think next year is going to be a busy time. Actually, we have people going now.
Yeah. Well, bless you.
Yeah. We have people going now because the animal experience is just amazing right now. I think they sense that there's not a lot of people they can smell, and so they're even out more in full force.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming, and thank you
you.
for a
Thanks,
great
Sally.
presentation.
Thank you for
and-
inspiring me and giving me the travel bug again.
Yeah. Well, definitely. It's coming back. I think people, I know what I wanted to stress is that, everybody was so concerned about getting on a plane. But the good thing is that that everyone on that flight that's going has already been COVID tested, because
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to get into the country if you don't have. And I have to tell you, one of the things that's really important for people to know is that, a lot of these African countries, because of, situations like Ebola and things of that nature, they've had more experience in dealing with these infectious diseases than we have. So a lot of people don't know that when you come into the airport in Nairobi or in Johannesburg, that there are thermal scanners that can check the temperature, if you have an elevated temperature. So they have really been able to not have the amount of deaths that we've had in the US. I mean, I think in all of Africa, the entire continent, which is comprised of 54 countries, there were maybe about 7,000 deaths approximately. Don't hold me to that number, but very few. And Kenya, very, very few. They have a very young population also, which COVID doesn't affect people that are much younger. But also, they closed the borders, when this whole situation happened.
Mhm.
So, they've had very, very little of this COVID disease.
Well, and I will say I was impressed. I was actually just in Africa in March, and we were bopping around from Ethiopia to Kigali to Cape Town to Botswana, and it was right as it was, COVID was breaking out, or at least we were hearing it was breaking out in March in the US. And all the airports there, they were taking, the temperature checks, and they were really being careful, and that impressed me. Because everybody went there.
Yeah, they and I can tell you my own experience right during that Ebola thing, right after the Ebola crisis. I went to Kenya and then I went to Tanzania, and I don't want to tell you how many times my temperature was checked.
Yeah.
So they've had a lot of experience, and they have the infrastructure, so to deal with these things. So they're very, very, very careful, very careful.
It's true. It's true. Well, thanks for coming, and
Thank you again,
Ramona, for a great presentation.
Okay, we'll touch base again. Juliana, thank you so much.
Yes,
for
thank
coming
you.
with the call. Very nice of you, Juliana. She's wonderful.
She is.
Thanks,
and we'll get you the
Jules.
recording too in the next couple days.
Oh, awesome. Yes.
Yeah, and if that recording doesn't sound good, Stefany, I'm more than happy to do it again for you. So.
Aw, thank you. I'm sure it'll be fine. You sounded perfect to me on my end. So.
Okay.
Sounded good to me.
Great.
Okay, have a lovely evening.
Thank you. Have a great night. Bye.
You too. Bye.